When did you start flying?
Back in July of last year was my first flight.
Cool.
So
Congratulations.
very new.
Mine was November. So
Okay.
in July was my first tandem, and then November I did my first solo. So
How many
I guess
flights
all
do
in
you
all,
have?
I guess we've both been flying about since July. Then well, I'll say July because I flew in July. It was a tandem.
How many
But
flights do you have? Because it seems like you've been flying like way more than me.
I fly every morning and night and weekend that's possible. I get about 20 hours a week or so flying, so I have to do a 40-hour maintenance every 2 weeks, and an
Jeez.
80-hour week, 80-hour maintenance every month, and 100-hour maintenance that fifth month or that fifth week I go fly. I go
Oh,
through about 5 gallons of gas a day,
jeez.
like
That's
like everybody
wild.
else, like everybody else, right? I mean, you know.
I mean, I wish I could do that, but the winds just don't allow where I'm at. They're really never in our favor.
Winds aren't always in my favor either. I That's why I've been taking all these SIV courses to really know my wing, and that this last SIV course I just went to, which is the whole reason why I've been driving for 2,000 miles, is to learn this wing, and I'm very comfortable on this wing. So I do a lot of midday flying,
Okay.
as long as the winds don't gust more than 10.
Sure. What does it cost to do an SIV course like that? I feel like it's got to be a little bit expensive now.
About $400 a day.
Okay. And how
It's
many
way
days
worth
have you
it.
gone?
I did 2 days about 3 months ago, and I did one day this last weekend on Saturday.
Okay. And then I see like you got to practice like pulling your reserve and everything, right?
Oh, you know it. That's
So
that's that's the fun part about it.
what does a day look like in the course?
Uh,
What's everything you're going over? I know you've made like a couple videos on it.
yeah, I did a 48, almost 50-minute documentary on the 2 day SIV course. Try to give you an idea of what it's all about, and then Shane and I the last day there. I was it that night, Saturday night. I think we did like a 50-minute podcast, an audio podcast, just on paratalk.org, and we talked about what to expect, and it's a lot more physically demanding than one would think. It's especially like during midday, it is hot, and hey, Kevin, I see you. um,
Kevin in the house.
Kevin in the house. So
Kevin
yeah,
in
What's
the
up, Kevin?
house. Kevin. That's the man right there.
Just like I like listening to other people talk about SIV. It's always fun.
Oh, nice hair, Kevin. Yeah, look at you.
look
Yeah.
at you. You're almost human looking.
It's
Well,
growing
now that
out.
you did that, now not so much human.
So like, diamond. Yeah, there we go.
I got that 1990s thing going pretty hard.
You got to throw some gel on there or something.
Spike
It
it.
goes back, and there you go.
Just spike
Yeah.
it. Do a full hawk.
I could go back to like my punk rock days and just send it straight up.
That's
You gotta
funny.
do that. You do. You have to do that sometime. Yeah, that's funny.
The old
I really like to see that.
Elmer's blue egg whites and mom's fucking ironing board where she
Oh,
comes
you
and
did
beats
it.
your ass when she finds out what you did.
You did not do that.
Yeah, dude, we used to roll out wax paper on the cutting board, lay your head out flat so I could get my hair out straight.
Yeah, I believe that.
Sounds hilarious.
See, Brandon, I told you our show was just like, I just hang out with the guys
You got to be one of them.
Dude, I was a professional dirt bike rider. I had to go around the world looking and acting like one.
Oh, that's got to be sweet.
There you go. There you go.
Back in the days before backflip was even a thing.
Oh God.
I know. Good backup.
Jeez.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh man,
Are we
guys,
like live right now, or is this just like the pre-show thing?
this is our pre-show. We're gonna go live in
Oh.
about 20 minutes. Hopefully, we'll
Good.
get the rest of the gang here. We'll get the hay waller and see if I can text everybody. Make sure they get on. Make sure they remember.
Yeah. We already know what's going on with Brian. So he's cooking the chicken.
Yep.
Barbecue went down. So, yeah. So we know all about that.
So
Kevin. Yes, Kevin.
my flying buddy got a new wing yesterday. He went from a 26-meter Ozone Swift paragliding wing to a 19-meter Speedster, and it bit him.
Oh, I'm sure.
He was trying to be all cool.
Well, I tried to explain to him. So I offered to him, I said, come and fly my Spider for a couple of flights before you decide to downsize. Because, I mean, he's going from a 26-meter down to a 24-meter. So I said, try that, see how it feels. Because in his mind, and this is one of those things I get some students that just don't seem to understand, this sport isn't about going fast. It's about going slow. Mm-hmm. It's about being able to fly 5 feet off the ground at 20 miles an hour and see things, do things, hop over fences and trees like your brain sees it. You know what I mean? Like Grand Theft Auto kind of, where you're just like, oh, look at that field. You're like, let's go fuck that field up a minute. And these guys have the wrong idea where they're thinking like, oh, well, if I'm like Tucker and I fly around on like a 16-meter, I'll be fast, right? Well, what they fail to realize is when you try to take off or land anything smaller than about a 20-meter wing, it takes every ounce of perfect technique you can find. Yeah. Your lean back angle has to be correct. Your brake pressure has to be correct. The wing has to be stable and up over your head. And then you have to run faster than you think you can actually make your feet go before you can get off the ground. But equally, when you land, you also have that same speed coming in. So you really have to be a master of the finesse art in managing the energy. And when he came in to land, he came in super fast. And as soon as he touched down with his right foot into a gopher hole.
Oh, is that the one that I saw? Okay, I just read about that.
Is there a video on that? Because I just either saw that or I didn't see the video, but I saw something on that.
I just read it. Yeah, I heard it too.
He hasn't sent me the video yet, but I'm pretty sure based on the condition of the wing that I got, I got a pretty good idea of how good the landing was. I had to go to the airport today and pick up his car and tie down his motor and bring all of his stuff home for him. And surprisingly, he didn't actually damage the motor at all. He didn't tear up the cage. He didn't tear up the prop. He didn't tear up the paramotor at all. It just tore him up.
Just his ankle.
Yeah. So as I like to make the jokes, you know, Brian is our hey guy, and then and now
he doesn't mean he's gay. That just means he hit a hey.
and now my buddy, he's the guy who has whole landings.
That's gotta hurt. That's bad.
Oh, dude, it busted him off. I mean, it's very, very similar to Brian's injury because he's telling me he's laying there next to the runway and he can rotate his leg left and right, but his foot just stays in one place. He can actually feel inside his leg where the bones are rotating separate from the foot. I was like, yep, been there, done that one before.
Yeah, no, that was like when I actually broke my arm. I broke it in such a weird spot, like right around here. right in the middle there. And when I first fell down, I went for like a big jump and I just completely like lost in the air. I fell down and then I'm trying to get back up and I'm looking at my coat and my arm's just staying there. I'm trying to get up. And so I tried moving my arm and I see part of my jacket, just this front top, and the rest of it's just staying there. Like, well, we
Right.
got a problem.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty rough. So he gave me his wing for an inspection to figure out why he was having trouble with it. And the very first thing I noticed was it had about 4 pounds of sand in it.
Oh my.
So he didn't do a very good job of inspecting it and cleaning it out and having it prepared for the greatest success possible.
Yeah, you gotta clean out the butthole.
And then it took me probably
God.
What you do?
You just said it so serious. Like, yeah, you got to clean out the butthole. That's the
You
thing.
do. I mean, that's
Out of be done.
just what you got to do. If you don't clean out the butthole, you get 10 pounds of sand in there, and it gets constipated. It's not good.
That's a picture. Okay.
so yeah, and then on top of that, the wing has apparently been flown in coastal conditions for most or all of its life. And the reason I say that is because both the upper and lower pulleys were both frozen.
Oh.
So the little brass wheel, no spinning. They were both frozen place on both risers. So the trick to that is you get a little cup and some industrial strength CLR, calcium lime rust remover, and you take the brake lines out.
Sorry. Yeah, that's my Amazon. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I knew that was going to happen.
You could mute that at any time. So anyway, you soak the pulleys in CLR for about 5 minutes and then pull them out. And with a little pair of needle nose pliers or whatever, you spin them until they're free, and then dunk and swish and move them, dunk and swish and move them.
Were they that bad?
Oh, they were frozen. Like
Wow.
would not spin, wouldn't move. When I grabbed them with pliers and went to initially turn it, like the pliers spun, the wheel didn't spin. So I finally, after like 20 minutes of cleaning them out with CLR and a toothbrush and shit, got a bunch of gun oil into them and then got them to spin. And then I finally got them cleaned out, freed up to the point where they're nice and factory again, basically.
So was that sand that was in there, was that when he bought it, it was in there?
Yeah, he got it used. He picked up this wing for
Man, that would have cost an extra couple bucks to ship it with that much sand.
yeah, with 4 extra pounds of sand in it. I mean, the minute I picked the wing up, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
He didn't even
You're
realize.
You're like, no. Well, see, the thing is, like, here in Oregon, we fly the coast. We fly the coast quite a bit. So you get pretty used to having sand in your wing. It doesn't seem like that big a deal. The difference, though, is you're used to a paragliding wing, 25 to 27 meters. That kind of size will make up for the 2 to 4 pounds of sand difference. When you drop down to an 18 or 19 meter, that 3 pounds of sand is going to make it ridiculous to launch, make it have weird, uncontrollable feeling characteristics because the weight of the sand is actually deflecting the trailing edge.
I can't imagine.
So it makes your brakes feel all spongy and shitty.
I can't imagine. I mean, I don't clean my. If anybody can get up with JP and tell them that we're on, I don't know where he is. I mean, I don't keep a clean wing. I mean, if I get a little dirt on it, it stays dirty. I'm not going to clean it or anything. But I definitely make sure that there's no sand, rocks, and other things in the butthole. I mean, there's a reason why we got a butthole to clean out.
About every 2 or 3 flights when I land, if I have decent wind, I'll just sit there and backfly my wing for a quick minute and just let whatever is in it just fall right out the nose cells.
I do that too. When it's good wind, it's hard to find good wind to kite that booger upside down. But I mean, on my Roadster, the butthole zippers I keep on seeing Brandon look at. He's like every time I say butt heels, he's like, "Oh man."
That's what they're called.
Just
I
love
know,
it.
right? The Velcro things are about that wide. On this new one that I got, it's very very small.
Right.
It's the Gin Vantage, and it's very small. It's like, why is it that small?
Well, because they're meant to be flown with them open. So if you're flying at the beach or flying in sandy conditions, you open them and leave them open.
No, these are Velcro.
No, I know, but is there a little flap that you can reverse
Just
from
on
the
my
inside out?
just on my Roadster. Just on
They
my
don't
Roadster.
they don't have a funnel to them. They just have a Velcro opening. That's it.
Just on the Gin it does, but on the
Wow.
on the Spider and on the Roadster it has the funnel.
The funnel. Yeah. Because like with my Roadster or the Spider or whatever, you just leave the buttholes open. You just let the funnels out, and then you just fly it with them open. And
Brandon here, he's just going butthole.
It's funny though, because when you
I'm trying to think though. I've actually never cleaned mine, so now you guys got me thinking.
Oh my
You've
gosh,
never
you never
cleaned
cleaned
your
your
butthole?
butthole?
Oh no!
We keep
Oh,
that
this
shit
is getting
dirty.
interesting now.
like
I'm going to go grab something to drink real quick. I'll be right back.
I was
So
just
you
thinking
could-
that as well.
you could fly
Okay.
with them open, and then like on the third or fourth time around, like when you're nice and stable and in the seat and everything feels good, you just quickly like give like 3 or 4 just really solid fast jabs at the brakes,
Okay.
and it bounces everything down to the wingtips, and then it just falls out of the buttholes while you're flying. It kind of empties the
So
wing.
how
down.
often, like when you're flying, how quickly does your wing fill up since you're flying in sand?
Well, if I'm careful, not really at all. If I'm not being careful, then fairly quickly.
Okay.
I mean, I have a Spider, so it's a shark nose wing. So due to its design, it inherently has a little more nose to it, so it doesn't scoop sand real bad.
Sure.
But like an A wing that has a much larger opening to the cell, like they work like shovels. They just shovel sand into the wing.
I could see that.
But there's like techniques, like if you get your wingtips all the way out, like you don't have to lay the wing out to like a perfect lineup. But if you just get the wingtips out, when you inflate, the wing opens sideways and it doesn't fill itself up. If you
Okay.
open it up from a rosette with the wingtips tucked in, they swing out, and that swinging motion just makes them slide, and they slide like shovels. It's like shovel, 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 shovel as it opens.
Okay.
And then your wing is like 20 pounds heavier, and
Sure.
you don't have any like good characteristics. When you try to kite it, it always wants to fall off to one side or the other. It doesn't really want to stay up. It feels like one brake is messed up or something.
Okay.
It's pretty easy to start telling when your wing doesn't kite properly that it's too full of sand to have fun.
Sure. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab some water.
What's up, everybody? Can you hear me?
There he
What's
is.
up, Waller?
No, what did you say?
Hey, how's my audio? Because I'm using a new laptop.
I
And
see you got a
new
background too.
New
Cool.
Bluetooth headphones and everything. So let me know if you got audio issues. My AC is running, so
That's all right.
Curious.
You sound
JP's
pretty
scared of
good.
COVID in his own living room.
Groovy, groovy.
yeah. I got my first virtual background. What?
Woo! I'm jealous. Dang it.
I finally bit the bullet and got a laptop and some good video processing software. So
good for you. That's
I'll
awesome.
step it up a notch.
I saw you.
Time.
I saw you earlier today.
Well, at least you do have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Two good legs, thank you. I actually ran a little bit today because it was raining. And I realized, oh, I ain't supposed to be running yet, and it didn't bother me.
Hey,
I like that.
your doctor said, "Hey, what'd we say?"
Stop.
Is this where you make the joke and you say something like, the last time Brian went flying, he hit the roundup.
Oh.
Is tonight the night Shane's not going to be on?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the anniversary of Shane's son's passing, so they're doing family
That
stuff.
stinks. That stinks. I was really interested to see if he was able to get to 4,500 feet and do a wing over.
Oh, he had no problem, but we decided that next week we're going to do a podcast just on SIVs. So probably no guests next week. Brandon, of course, and everybody else that's ever been on here is more than welcome to be on the panel, which is cool. But I think that we'll just talk about SIVs and throwing. So JP, he'll have a little something to talk about, and Kevin will have something to talk about. Sorry, Tommy.
I got nothing to talk about here either.
Man, we have a
Inside.
couple more minutes, so I'm trying to get our audio.
Let me know if mine's too loud. I can turn it down.
Yours is never loud.
I'm just loud.
Yeah, is mine too loud? I have no idea.
No, you're good, Brandon.
All right.
Live stream.
Yeah, you got the professional setup there. It looks like, Brandon.
I used to do a little bit of streaming and whatnot, so
Sweet.
you can see got Twitch logo, YouTube logo. I kind of just put those stickers on myself.
Yeah, I just watched your videos up on YouTube, man. I enjoyed that.
Thank
You're
you,
just like
thank
a
you.
natural, behind the microphone there. I was like, we got to get this guy on our show, man. Yeah. Brandon, where do you live? Where are you in Florida or Ohio?
No,
I don't know.
I wish. I'm out in Wisconsin.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yep. So
Okay.
my season's running a little dry here, but I'm hoping to come down there sometime, maybe at the beginning of next year or something. I don't know. I gotta plan like a mini trip. Hopefully the guys I fly with will be out there.
Sure. Yeah. You'll find something, You get that road trip going, and then we're going to see you all over Facebook today.
I'll be out there.
Yeah. I send you a friend request, too.
Okay.
Because I know I subscribe to your show. And I always
Awesome.
put on there and get everybody on there to, watch your stuff. So.
I'll definitely add you back. That I'm not really too familiar with Facebook, but
Facebook's for old people, man. That's what my nieces and nephews told me at a recent family reunion. I was like, dadgummit, I think they're right.
I would say that, but now I'm using it, so.
I guess it's like MySpace to us.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, honestly, though, it's probably my best place to promote anything, so I can't really hate.
Exactly.
I pretty much refer to Facebook as Karen Book these days.
You run into a lot of them.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. JP, let's see if we can hear your audio. I haven't heard you yet, JP.
JP's
Hello.
mask moment.
What's up, guys?
Testing,
up,
testing,
JP?
1, 2, 3. Hey, JP, can you go to Brandon's channel and load up his crash video?
Oh no.
Brandon, do you have that link?
Yeah. Oh, you
Okay.
got all my stuff there. Scroll down just a little bit. If you type in Ruetsche Flies, that's my. I got a bunch of different channels. You guys will realize
that's not him.
That is me, but on a different channel.
That's not him flying. Yeah.
Type in Ruetsche Flies. If you just type that in Flies, close enough, it should pop up.
They got multiple personalities going on, I guess.
Oh God.
They used to call that
FLIES. Or here, let me put something in the chat.
It's FLI.
Yeah, go ahead and put in the chat. We're gonna go ahead and get on. We're gonna go do the live thing real quick.
All right.
There it is.
There he is,
Find
on
it?
the top
Sweet.
one.
There we go. Don't forget to subscribe to him either.
That's right.
All right, guys, we're gonna be going live here on YouTube in just a moment.
Okay. Got my hair all fixed. Hat's okay. JP.
Oh, this is also going to be our episode 30.
Woo! Already?
Big move.
Yeah.
Dang. We're rocking it.
Wait, that happens to be how old I am. 30.
Yeah. Me too. Every day.
Yeah.
30.
For the last 30 years.
Yeah, you look way older than that.
Uh,
You guys
trying
ready?
to
All right. All right. It says that we're live on YouTube. I hope we are live on YouTube. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, otherwise known as paratalk.org or clearproptv.com. God, I just have way too many .coms. And you can also find me at ppggrandpa.com. Today we have a big panel here. Once again, we're not that big. We have a large group of people here. As always, we have Linda Anderson, our cheerleader. We have Kevin Can Fly, our instructor. We have Brian Bale Waller, JP Tulio, and also Tommy Mosley. And of course, the whole reason why you're here is because we have Brandon. He has a little boo-boo, and we're going to be talking about that today. It's a little, this is not a whole horrible crash video type of thing. This is I have a weak paramotor, and it warped a little bit, and it blew up my prop. But
a
Brandon,
little bit of human error there too. But.
Brandon, welcome to the show. We appreciate that you are here today. Give us a little bit of background. I know that you've been flying since July of last year, but give us a little background of who you are.
All right. Well, my name is Brandon Ruetsche. I'm 20 years old. Learned to fly back in July of 2019, and just came into the paramotoring sport from watching one of Tucker's videos. But I've had this in the back of my head. Like, it's not always something I thought about, but when I was really young, I actually saw people flying, and I'm always like, yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. And just the heights, I've never been afraid of heights. And here we are today making videos for YouTube, always trying to push something out. And yeah, it's a little bit about me. Never went to school, so we got plenty of time, and working full-time, actually part-time right now as a finished carpenter. So
Hi.
We're out here just making money and flying in the free time.
Did you say that you did not go to paramotor school?
No, I college in a sense.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I could have clarified that, but yeah, 20 years old, no college, so.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, when you have time to go out and go fly all the time and make
Right.
videos, who wants to go to college in the first place, right?
That's what I'm saying.
So today we're talking about your latest boo-boo. As far as I know, this is your biggest boo-boo you ever had on a paramotor. Is that correct?
Yep, that is one of my first big oops.
Big oops. And you just did this, I think, on the 20th, right? Is that correct?
It was Monday of last week, so that'd be the 17th.
Okay, so last Monday, while we're having our last podcast, you had a boo-boo. Tell us a little bit about this boo-boo. What happened? And while we're talking to you about this, JP is going to be showing it while you're explaining it.
All right, so to begin with, I laid out the wing. Like, this was 10 minutes before I was taking off, so the winds were coming out of the west. And my intention was to take out of the west, and you guys can't really see it in this video, but at Winfield Airport, you have a west to east runway, or west and east runway, as well as a north and south. And you can see right now I'm in the west and east side of the runway. And so I set up planning to go west, and just to the right of me, you guys can see how tall that corn is. And as I was clipping in or getting ready 15 minutes later, the winds decided to shift to the northeast. And I thought the brilliant idea of just not deciding to switch up my wing pattern and just go with it. That's what really kind of screwed me here. But you can also see in the background there, in the video I'm talking about it, my buddy Jeff and my instructor, Mike, actually took off way behind me. And I was thinking about it in the first place, like, I was already set up before them, and me and Jeff actually took off from the same exact spot I took off this morning. Worked out fine, no problem. And just a few things that I completely missed. One of them being that I never even looked back to make sure someone was taking off behind me, because I assumed that Jeff was going to be way behind me and I was going to be the first one in the air. So that's the first mistake there. Another one that was pointed out is the obvious one is I gave throttle way too early. I kind of, basing on like Tucker's videos, is I always see he takes like the 2 steps and he's in the air. And so I didn't think anything of it. And I thought, hey, maybe I could do that. Not that I was trying to be him, but I needed to get up in the air quicker in order to make it over the corner or whatever my next step was. But you can also see my form there. I'm facing down, not chest out, nothing there. So something was just not clicking in my head. And it might have been because we had a viewer, Christopher, who actually showed this. I don't know why, but maybe that messed with my head. I mean, you guys know how it is. If you have a viewer or a few viewers, you're kind of, you always want to stay focused on doing your pre-flight and making sure everything's all right. But at the same time, you got that pressure. And I think that's kind of what threw me off here, because you can see me, I'm in no way, shape, or form ready to be up in the air based on this frame right here. I'm facing down. But mistakes do happen, and we do learn from them. And you got to think of the bright side of this. I mean, for every downfall, I'd like to say there is something bright that comes out of it. The bright side is we got a video, one of our best videos yet, view-wise on YouTube. So there's a bright side to it, and learned a lesson.
I honestly don't see a problem taking off with your friend to the right of you like that, though. I've flown and I've taken off with people on the left and right.
Okay.
I think the point was that he didn't know where he was. He could have been taken off right, in his face on top of him, and he didn't check.
Right. That was my biggest thing, because my intention probably would, if I would have gone up there, is to make it over these trees that are ahead of me, and they're real small trees. But let's say I needed to cut off to the right because I wasn't going to make those trees. You guys won't be able to see it in the video, but my biggest thing is I had no idea. That look back could have told me whether or not I'm ready to go up or not, because I had no idea he was there. So let's say I needed to pull right. And I mean, he is plenty far away, but I could have got hit with his wake there. Not that it would be the biggest of deals, but just something I could have looked out for there.
The one thing oh, wait a minute. What kind of wing is that?
Ozone Mojo Power.
Okay. Because I just got a wing and it's orange like that. It's really spicy. So I called it a pumpkin spice. It's my pumpkin spice wing. And it looks pretty much like your wing. So I was just wondering, what kind of cage do you have that would cause the pressure of you doing a forward launch to warp like that and cause your prop to hit your cage?
I'm not sure. I mean, it definitely is a fraction of the cage, but I wouldn't even blame it on the cage. I could just feel, I do remember when I went up there, just the pressure from the wing on the lines down to the cage. I could feel it was just an insane amount of pressure from the power that I gave it so early that it just pinched the cage. And it's the, what is that? It's a mini plane frame with the, what they call, I find out later, the flex frame. So I'm sure that could have a little bit to it, but I think it's all error here on my end. I don't think I could say anything about the frame saving it in a sense.
But maybe. Is that what happened? Did the frame hit the prop? Is that what happened?
So I think one of the arms actually just collapsed in from the frame being bent too hard, and it must have struck the prop.
And what kind of frame is that? What motor do you use?
That's a what would it be? A Vitarazi Monster 185. Mm-hmm. With the mini plane frame.
On a mini plane frame. Okay.
It's a mini plane ABM.
So that's actually a thing, Brandon. It's called, a power launch, a power on launch.
And right. I did see that on Reddit. I was just doing it completely wrong.
So the one thing that I'm taking away from this is it's a little bit twofold. So number one is the particular frame you have. Mini plane does make cage stiffeners that go in between the main portion of the cage and the hoop that actually add a bunch of rigidity to it. And when you run a boaster, you probably should get that rigidity for it. Secondarily, you mentioned, God, I got a frog in my throat. You mentioned Tucker and how he launches and gets in the air in 2 to 3 steps. So the key element, and this is one of the things that YouTube does not ever tell you or teach you, is the finesse that's involved in doing something like that. And what you're not seeing is he's not getting in the power early. He waits till the wing is completely overhead. And the minute that he does his brake check is when he rolls onto power and takes off with his posture in the correct position. So it's really a finesse movement to get into flight and get into the seat in 3 steps. It's not about power. It's not about power. It's about technique.
Right. And that's something like before I even like not that was something I ever intended to be doing, but it was just in the back of my head, like, oh, he could do it, I could do it. And definitely was not the case.
That's the way I launch, though. When I'm doing a forward launch, especially on a nil wind, as soon as I feel tension on the A-lines, I give it some gas, and I can even feel my wash hitting my wing and pushing it up pretty quick. And I just, look at my left and right wingtip, make sure there's no cravat. It kind of looked like he had a cravat on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it did. I could see that, and the guys were thinking it could have been something like that too. But I mean, at first I was thinking it was the chase cam going right in the prop, and that was definitely not the case. Because I was kind of stumbled on this until I showed a couple other pilots. They knew right away what it was.
Where did you have your chase cam connected to? What lines?
I believe, what would that be? Right in front of the brake lines there. So if that's a D's on mine, I believe, I'm not sure. That's where I've always had it too. So I was just not sure if that was a possible chance.
Someone's about to tell you that's the wrong spot, but I've ran it there my entire career, never had an issue, but someone's about to tell you that.
Yeah.
I put it on my C lines. Every time I try to launch on my D lines, it always did that little collapse thing, which you can see on the screen kind of right now, where it kind of collapses the back end of the wing. So putting it on the centermost C line, I haven't had any problems, even with forward launches. So,
Okay.
I mean, everybody says different things. I think even Kevin says to make sure that you put on the C lines if you have A, B, C's, and D's to put on the C lines.
That's what I was getting at there, Sean.
And definitely never put them on the brake lines. Yeah, it looks like you do have a nice little wrap. Something's wrapped around it. Looks like you actually have a line wrapped.
It's just not inflated all the way.
Yeah, I don't think there was really any air, because I definitely checked for the lines and all that, so there was no air with the lines.
No, it comes up hard and straight, and then right about the time that the wing would come up overhead is when you get into throttle. But if you look where the motor is pointed, your prop blast is straight at your wing.
Right.
So you're actually deforming the wing with your prop blast is what's happening.
I hear you there. Yeah, no, we were not in a good position there. We're just aiming right for the ground.
And you didn't hear it, but if you listen to it, you hear this horrible grinding sound.
Yeah.
And I think that's the prop flying in front of you on the screen. Is that it?
I think that was it hitting the cage, and then yeah, you can see it right there, just going right into the air there.
I would also say you said that you thought you were wrong for aiming down at whatever point you were at. I would say there's not necessarily anything wrong at that point of your launch. Let me see if I can find it. Because the wing's not over your head, so you're not getting any lift. Like right there, you said you're aimed down, but
Sure.
you're not gonna be getting up in the air with the wing behind you. So I think what Kevin said was right too. You don't. The wing needs to be over your head before.
Okay. No, I understand what you're saying.
So.
Well, what actually happened as far as the damage then? You think that the arm broke, and because of the pressure on the cage, and the arm is what actually hit the prop. It destroyed what, one end of the prop? So you said it's completely destroyed. The prop was, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was split in half, so obviously
You can see the prop
repairing
right
that there. Yeah, and there was like a small chunk below that as well. But I'm led to believe that the outer frame was so far pushed in that one of the arms on the outside, the bottom, whether it be the right one, collapsed in enough or was bent so far in that the prop just struck it, because there is a big bend in one of those props or in one of the arms there, and that was the only one that was damaged. So that's pretty much all I can come up with. As far as other things that were damaged, I had the air box there that completely came off. It wasn't damaged, but I did lose a grommet that holds it on to the frame there. Not a big deal there. And obviously netting's ripped. We got that fixed. And luckily the wing was fine. That was one of my biggest concerns.
Did you fix your own netting? I'm just curious.
I had Mike, who's my instructor. He fixed it for me. He got, I forget which type of netting it is, but he did it for me since he was intending for me to get back up in the air yesterday. And I left the motor with him, so he just took care of it.
Would that be Mike Cotter?
No, Mike with Nipke powered paragliding instruction. He's out in Winfield Airport, if you've ever heard of him.
No, I haven't.
But he's the guy I learned from, and he's got a hangar with another guy named John, and they're the ones that trained me, and so they have a hangar that they rent out to any pilot, paramotor pilot, and he just helped me out there. I paid him a couple bucks, whatever, just so I didn't have to do it.
Right.
But
So you said that you got a carbon fiber prop that just came in?
yeah, so I got an E-prop in. I believe it's a 125 centimeter prop. I just actually put it on, but I'm actually going to swap the bolts on there. I picked up some bolts from Menards, and my dad doesn't like the whole Menards deal because he thinks they're China made, whatever, which I'm fine with. He's got some bolts that he's ordering through like Fastenal or somewhere where they're made in the
Fastenal.
U.S. And he's got them coming in that he's just paying through from his work. So I don't even think he's paying for them, but he's helping me out there because he'd rather have me be safe than.
Do you have the spacer on yours? Do you have that orange spacer?
Yeah.
And you know that you need the longer bolts for the E-props, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I got a Helix and I got an E-prop. The E-prop, it spins up, very quick, but I just don't have the thrust that the Helix has.
Okay.
And you just had a wooden prop?
Yeah, just the stock wooden prop that was on there.
Were you able to? So you weren't able to fly the new E-prop yet?
Not yet. I'm excited too, but I'm at the same time I'm a little not nervous that I'm going to damage it, but as to what the difference is going to be compared to the wooden prop, because I felt it the other day, and that thing is, you could hold that up with a pinky. Like,
So
You went from the heaviest to the lightest.
the big difference is going to be the weight and how fast when you go to grab throttle, it's going to spin instant. There won't be any lag. And then secondarily, when you're at really low throttle positions, you won't have very much thrust at all. It'll be kind of surprising. You'll be like, wow, you're like, there's almost no throttle. And then all of a sudden, as you start to work your way through the RPM, then all of a sudden it'll come in and you're like, oh, there's the thrust. Which is kind of nice, because when you're like at idle, they call it the whisper tips, but when you're at idle, it makes a sound that is really pleasant to hear when you're flying.
Okay.
It kind of like whistles behind your head as it spits and rotates.
Sure. That's definitely good to know. I mean, yeah, that's something I was a little nervous about, but if you guys say that, I mean, just those little tips and things to look out for or notice goes a long way.
Now we probably also have some new people that are watching this, people that have never flown before, and they're going to go, oh my goodness, if I lean forward like this, I'm going to explode a prop and it's going to cost me $500. It's some things that, the newbies are going to worry about. So I guess we need to find out, what is the proper technique to be able to go forward on a frame, that's similar to this. And what the difference is from what you did, Brandon, and what we can do to make sure that doesn't happen again. So who has that information that would like to talk about the proper way of launching forward? Well,
I have a Synergy 7, which uses the same style hoop as the ABM frame uses. And in a nutshell, you just do a zero throttle forward launch. And right about the time that you come off of the A's and check your brakes is right when you roll on to full throttle. And like he says about Tucker, you take 4 or 5 steps, lift a knee, and go fly. You just don't rely on the cage to hold any weight. You just use your arms and as little bit of the cage as necessary to do your forward launch.
Which you could do that sort of launch on certain cages. I think the lighter weight cages are less likely to support your lines like that.
Well, the Synergy 7 frame and the AVM Flex frame, they use composite, basically like tent poles to make up the hoop. And no matter what, even if you pull on them or do whatever, there's always going to be flex. And that's why ABM spent the time and effort to put in the hoop stiffeners that support everything. So if you're using like a top 80 or an Atom 80, it really doesn't require you to get the hoop stiffeners. But if you use like an EOS 150 or a Most or anything that's of a larger size, then they recommend the hoop stiffeners for this reason, because the motor's putting out enough thrust that it actually can put the resistance against the frame that a top 80 or Atom 80 won't.
I think Jeff Goen, when I talked with him, he said that he has a separate hoop that goes around to give it some more strength. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, that's the hoop stiffener. So that they just basically put 2 hoops on it, and one is inside. It's about 1.5 inches or so inside of the other one.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and go around here real quick and talk about our different frames. JP, what kind of frame do you have? And you said that you have the same issues.
Yeah, I've had a similar issue. I've got a Project Maverick, and it's marketed as a lightweight frame. You know, I think they say that you can do, power on launches, but I wouldn't do a full power launch with it, because I have, and it went bzz right through my netting. It also depends how you do it and when you do it. If you go completely from a stop with your wing on the ground and you go full power, you're going to have problems. I would say with, I don't know, an Angel, for example, you could do that and never have an issue, though. Your technique needs to match your equipment, I would say. So,
I like that. Your technique needs to match your equipment. I like that. And Brian Haybale Waller, what's up, man?
What's up, guys?
What kind of frame do you have? And do you have any issues doing forward inflations and launches like this?
Well, I've never done a reverse launch, so there's that. But no, I have a Maverick frame made of titanium. I hit a bale of hay with it, and it deflected the left side enough to where my prop actually hit the cage, and it didn't bend it. Right now, I mean, it just temporarily flexed out of shape. So that was pretty good. But y'all got me worried talking about this netting. I hand stitched my net back together, a 1 foot diameter hole, and I'm a little worried about it. If it doesn't hold, I mean, there's another $400 prop right there probably, because I already replaced the prop.
And but you had your accident was going about 25 miles an hour, hitting a hay bale, and hitting the ground. And you said that you didn't have much of a damage on your frame.
No, when I put the new prop on, and you spin it around and check, the clearances between the top and bottom, left and right sides, it was spot on. I couldn't even measure a 1/4 inch of warp to the frame. But that being said, there was a hole in the net and a nice little notch in the titanium frame where the prop hit.
That's interesting. My frame is the Angel frame, and it has a 500 test pound Kevlar. You can put your hands all the way up and back, and there's just no way you can grab or even touch the prop. You can't put your hand through any space at all and hit the prop. And you can do a forward launch and have a couple elephants on you if you want to, and that frame won't bend. So it's really hard for me to really understand, these lightweight frames opposed to, my beast. Tommy, what kind of frame do you have, and do you have any issues doing a forward launch like this?
Mine's the Gravity Defy. It's kind of a hybrid. It looks like a lightweight frame, but it's pretty stiff. It's not so stiff that if you hit the ground, it won't let the prop have flex to it and hit the frame. But it almost looks like a nitro or something like that, but a lot stiffer of a frame. I could pretty much go full power from the ground and not worry about bending anything. I've enjoyed it so far.
Okay, so I guess there's a lot of different types of frames out there. Now, Kevin, he actually is an instructor. He has his own school. Kevin, tell me real quick about your school, how we can, look you up, and what kind of frames do you have for your students? Have you had any issues like this?
Not anything that's like this, so to speak. I have two different motors that I use for my school. One is an HS-Com Condor with a Moster 185, and then the other one is a Synergy 7 with a top 80. The HS-Com is what I would consider a middle of the road frame. It's not exactly lightweight, but it's not exactly heavyweight. It's a stainless steel main section, carbon spars with an aluminum hoop. So it kind of blends the materials together for lightness and strength. It's been kind of temperamental for me because of the welds on it through the stainless have developed some fractures. So I've been having to get it repaired, and the company's been really good about warrantying it when it does break. But the Synergy 7 I have, like I was saying earlier, the big thing about that is it has the flex hoop. And so with having a top 80 on it, the top 80 doesn't have enough thrust to be able to flex against the cage. And then it's also clutched. So with the prop not spinning, doing just a standard forward launch, it does just fine, has no issues. And then if you do a reverse launch on either machine, it's null and void on either one. So it just, again, I think it really just comes down to getting your mind frame to the proper technique and then executing the proper technique, like JP said about the equipment you have dictates the type of flying and the type of technique needed for using it. So like your frame, Sean, for example, it's a lawn chair as well as a crash cage as well as a paramotor. So you can set it up in a field. It literally works like its own kickstand. And then the way that the harness is set, you can set up your wing, your motor, everything, and then just walk over, sit down in it, buckle up, stand up, and go fly. Whereas like the ABM frame or some of the other ones, that lightweightness, it feels a little easier to carry around. It feels a little easier to start it on your back and not feel the weight of it. But then there's sacrifices. On the flip side, there's the titanium stuff that's ultralight. It's really nice for its weight. It has really good durability in the fact that you can bend it back, but that also equates to the fact that it will bend in to have to be bent back when you have an incident. So like the Maverick cage and the Mac Para, they're really nice, and you can just kind of stick a foot on them and straighten them back out. But you probably are going to have to fix a prop tip in the process because of the fact that they do have some give. So it's all just a trade-off, in my opinion.
Yeah, I that is very true. I decided I wanted to get a Beast, and the warranty that I have on my Skytop Angel, you can go to ppgangel.com and check them out, is that the warranty is if you have it on video and you come down and you bend a piece or something, the manufacturer will send you another piece free. Now, does anybody else have a warranty like that on any of their frames, or is it just the Angel?
I have the same warranty. I just have to send a check for the price.
Yeah.
I just have to send a check. That's
Ditto.
hilarious. So that's the reason why I want to do it. I wanted to get something that was a beast. If I had some mess ups, if I slipped, if I did a butt landing, if I, lift my legs up too soon or whatever, I've never broke a prop, and I've even turtled and never broke a prop. I've come down too hard, never broke a prop. So to me, that frame does something for me. It gives me that security. Now, Brandon, you got this frame did your instructor say, hey, this is something that I suggest for you? Have you did any searches about it? Did you know that they do warp when you do a forward launch?
So when I went to actually buy my equipment, this was before I even flew. And I was basically just basing it off of what my instructor said, Mike. I trusted him as to what he decided to get me, and I still stand by him. I don't have any issues with my frame, and I still wouldn't even blame it on my frame. I still think it's purely, I mean, not purely, but majority, if I could have just gotten that wing up in the first place, had it up and then taken off, I wouldn't have had that problem. But I think the frame that I have is a nice lightweight frame, and that's something I was going for. Not so much like your frame. When I look at yours, that thing's a freaking beast. Like, you're taking out everything with that, and that's like a good thing to look out for if that's something you want. I mean, you know you wanted that, but that's something I probably would have held back on my end. But now you can see I'm paying for it a little bit, but it is what it is.
I like the fact that I can buy a frame and I never have to buy anything on it ever again, no matter how silly, stupid I am. Well, Linda Anderson, she does not fly. So let's go ahead and ask as someone that doesn't fly, if you had the opportunity of getting something really super small and light, with the possibilities of it warping like that, or getting something that's super, super strong like mine, which way would you go on a decision for a paramotor?
My gosh. So just starting out, that's where I would look to you guys. You know, there's so many frames, so many props, everything out there right now. I would look to you guys, like what would you suggest for somebody like me, you know? My gosh, you don't want to get something that's so overwhelming that you kill yourself. So, but
well, I mean, I didn't want to put you on the spot or anything either. It's just like, would you go?
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Would you go for something that's light on your back? You know, that could warp, or would you go for a little something heavier that's more solid and, you know, probably wouldn't. Hey, never trust a skinny chef, Shane. He's here. So what would you go for, Linda? Would you go for something lighter that could possibly warp?
Yeah, probably lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think anything, because I'm so petite anyway, anything else would probably, I don't know, like I would have to talk to the girls that, you know, that fly or whatever, that are the same, you know, stature as me or whatever, and what they start with, what they're, it's something that I guess I would have to try it first, you know, and see what's comfortable for me. Right. I might say, well, this is kind of too light, right? And then you go, so when you go and you guys actually go and shop for these, you know, when you're a beginner or whatever, you go out and you just shop for with, you know, your instructor, whatever, for a, you know, a prop and all that stuff. See, I would probably need the kids. Yeah, I would probably need the kids' prop.
Yeah, so it is pretty. There are so many different variables. Real quick, since we got Never Trust a Skinny Chef Shane on, I don't know how long he will be able to make it here or stay on here. Shane, welcome to the show. Welcome. He's our normal panel member and you know, great paramotor pilot. We just did an SIV course. How are you doing, sir?
After our spooning and you being my roommate, I needed a little time. I needed a little.
Once you go from Amsterdam, back. But we also did some cooking, also too. We made some brats. Can you tell us about the brats and the hashtag real quick?
Oh yeah. So last year I started this on my channel, which was hashtag Cooking Against Cancer. This year we did Cooking Against Cancer 2020. What it is, it's a dedicated cook, if you will, towards somebody that has fought cancer, fighting cancer, or lost a battle to cancer. And today's been the 5-year anniversary of my son. He lost his battle to cancer at the age of 19. And it's just something to help, I guess, the process of not getting over, but helping get through the day. And I really wasn't supposed to. Oh, actually, I wasn't going to go on, but yeah, everybody's asleep, so I figured I'd jump in here.
Sure.
Well, we are glad that you're here, Shane, and we definitely are praying for you and your family.
Yep, me too.
So as for the cook of what we cooked, I made some brats. My son, he loved brats. He loved the grill. It was watching that kid eat was amazing because you wondered how he's so skinny all the time, but all he did was eat constantly. But anyways, we made some brats. Cut it. We did jalapenos, banana peppers. I'm sorry. Let me start over. We made jalapenos, Anaheims, bell peppers, and yellow onions. We grilled them, sauteed them. Then we did brats on the grill. And then we put some cheese right on the Blackstone and crisped up the cheese, put the onion, Anaheim, bell peppers, and jalapenos on top of the cheese that was frying. And then we rolled it up. And because Sean is on a keto diet, I just made him a cheese bun. I just opened it. I made a cheese bun for him. And then I put mine on a grilled bun, and yeah, nobody complained. Let's just say
Nobody complained. What's that hashtag, real quick, that we can go and find these videos?
It's I want to say the cooking community, but it could be anybody. You don't have to just be the cooking community. It's hashtag Cooking Against Cancer 2020. So if you just type that in, you'll see everybody that did. That in their title or in their description, it'll show up. So you'll get to see everybody's videos, hear the stories of the person they're cooking for, whether they're fighting the battle, lost the battle, or what's the other one? Oh my goodness. I messed up the order. So people who have fought the battle with cancer, fighting the battle, or lost the battle to cancer. These dogs are driving me crazy. You hear them? They're like going crazy over here. Hey, stop.
Sorry I didn't get to make a video and contribute myself, Shane. But
yeah, it's
I
awesome.
definitely
dude.
wanted to. I'm lucky to say I don't have a lot of cancer in the family.
I didn't either until my son. then all hell broke loose. But anyways, yeah. So I'm here. Sean, you see my prop or my motor? My cage is not strong enough to do a powered forward launch. It would literally fold my prop up and tear my cage. And Sean, you weren't a big fan of. Hello, can I help you?
Aw, your baby.
Sean, you weren't a big fan of the gaps in my cage, anyways.
Oh my goodness, dude! The gaps in your cage where you could throw a toaster between those gaps, and I could not believe that a paramotor would have such big gaps like that. I mean, seriously, think of putting a toaster through a hole in the back of your paramotor, and swear to God, you could put a toaster through that. I don't understand it. It's crazy. No, not a fan.
There's three holes like that you could put a toaster through.
What frame do you have, Shane?
The PAP, what is it, Vanini, or what is it? I don't know what it's called. It's the one I bought at school. I like it. It's lightweight. I've never had an issue with it. What is it? VINTO, I think it is. Hold on, let me look. Good Lord.
The Vinto.
I can't even remember now.
So many different types of frames. It's crazy.
Yeah, they have a bunch.
So that's one of the things I think that Linda was trying to get at, is that there's so many different types of frames that you really need to, number one, trust your instructor. That's the whole reason why you're paying your instructors. Trust your instructor. Number two, you should be able to get up with all the people that fly in your area. Your instructor should be able to have either a list of people or maybe a group chat that you can go to. I was very lucky. I had a whole group of people of 100 and some people that I could actually talk with, and that actually helped too. What did you find out what it was, Shane?
I'm looking. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, it's no big deal.
It's not, but let me look, because now I look like an idiot, and I can't. I'm just drawing a blank. That's all.
It's no problem.
I got news for you.
Tonight's not the first night.
Tonight's not the
All right, hold on. I'll be right back. Linda, stop laughing.
I can always laugh at you.
All right, let's get back to our guest, Brandon. We appreciate you listening to all of us yapping about stuff and, telling our story along with your story. So what do you think you could do differently from now on to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Definitely just taking a step back and really thinking about the launch as I'm going about it. I mean, there was quite a few things that were wrong there, and it's just those little steps that could really have gone a long way there. Saved the prop, saved me from not flying that day. But I was thinking about it too as you guys were talking about frames and purchasing them. Some thought that was running through my head wasn't whether or not the frame's going to be able to put up for the damage I take it. My worry, or not even a worry, was, is this frame going to protect me if anything were to happen? And there wasn't really much thought as to the negative side of that. Like this single, like yours looks like it would go through a whole war. And if you were to drop out maybe 5-10 feet from the sky, if for some reason that happened, you'd be pretty safe. And in my head, that's just not it. It's always a possibility, but it's also not likely. And so when I was purchasing a frame, that was my not biggest thing, but that was something I looked at as to whether I want lightweight or bulky and sturdy like yours, if that makes any sense.
Did you buy yours brand new?
Yes.
And so you've been flying since July. How many flights do you have under your belt?
Probably just under 50. I'd have to check on my phone. I got it all mapped out there, but right around 50.
Do you use Skyfly High or Fly Sky High or
Yep.
PPG PS, or what do you use?
I use that, and then I go ahead and whatever the time is on that and my date, I always write it in my notes because I tend to break a couple phones in my couple of years of running them, so I'm always losing a lot of data from them.
What's your longest flight so far?
Probably an hour and a half being the longest. But there has been a couple of days. I've never really flown on a sunrise and a sundown just yet because the winds where I'm at are not always the best. And I'm always looking to fly with a group of guys. Right now I live an hour and 10 minutes away from Winfield Airport, which is where everyone that I actually fly with, they go to that airport there. But there's a place near my house that my dad's buddy, he owns a little bit of land. And so I can go fly there. He's only 15 minutes from where I live. So if I'm looking to fly alone, I can always go there. But I just feel like it's so much more fun to fly with a group of guys. And they always give you that confidence. One time we went up and the winds were iffy. They were bumpy. And if I wasn't flying with a group of guys that were already up there, I would have never flown in those being alone. But, just having a few other guys with you, kind of boosts your confidence. And not that you're trying things you shouldn't be trying, but these things are possible to do and whatever.
Because you're so new, new at this, I always take a buddy with you, always, because things can happen and you don't want to be sitting out there,
Oh yeah.
crashed out, hurt, and then what do you do? Even though, you can make sure you got your phone on you and maybe carry a radio and have a friend, fly with you. And,
right.
My son is actually, you probably see him on Facebook. He's a paraglider in San Diego, and he has this talk show, paraglidingtalk.com.
Okay.
So I'm .com. So I'm the paramom here. That's how I got started with all my para peeps, I call them. So you are welcome to check out his show on Thursday night. I just have to do the little plug in.
How do we get to your son's paramotor podcast? What's the .com?
Paraglidingtalk.com.
All right.
Yes. So Brandon, you gotta check it out.
I'll have to check that out.
Robert, I rarely see Robert flying by himself. He's out there in San Diego and Blossom. He always has a group of guys with him, or one or two guys or whatever. They always got radios on them, everything, because He's had his moments where he crashed in that desert, and if he didn't have all that on him, Lord knows what would have happened. It took him like 2
He
hours.
didn't crash. He landed safely on a road.
Well,
Come
kind of
on.
landed, but he was like in the cactuses. So anyway, so enough about that.
So you're saying you got the point when you landed?
Almost.
When he landed, he went straight to the point.
That'll
He
do
kind
it.
of gave us a tour of the cactuses. Yeah.
That'll teach.
Cute. It's a cute video on YouTube.
That'll teach you to be a little prick or two.
Oh, man.
Hey, when you land in the desert next to a cactus, you might be a little prickly.
Yes, you
Oh
will.
my god. Oh my god. So when you guys go out, are all those parts separate? Like you have to decide what prop you want, what frame you want, and then somebody builds it for you? The whole thing, the motor, like is that all separate kind of thing?
So
That's a really good question.
The answer to that is yes
I'm confused on that.
and no. So you can purchase a unit from a major manufacturer, and this is one of the things like I try to explain to my students that they fail to recognize sometimes. You can purchase a frame alone for anywhere between $1,000 up. You can get the Vittorazzi Moster or an HE or an EOS motor by itself. You can get a Dudek comfort seat or an APCO light or an APCO STL harness by itself. And then you can amalgamate the pieces, because that's the nice thing about this sport. So if you spent $2,500 on a brand new Moster, $1,000 on a brand new frame, and then $300 on your harness, you're essentially saving yourself about $2,500 and not just buying a motor from somebody. But it does mean that you're the one that has to put it together. It does mean that you're the one that has to put the thrust alignment correctly. And then it also means you're the one that has to hang check everything and make sure that before you go fly, it's 100% ready to fly. So there's pros and cons to saving money. In this case, saving money equates to knowledge. You need to know how to set up a paramotor if you're going to build one on your own. On the flip side, if you don't want to hassle with it, you spend the extra bucks, you get one that comes from Parajet or from PAP or from whoever. You open up the shipping crate, you put the hoop on it, you bolt on the prop, you prime the motor, and you go enjoy the world. So that's why I say it's yes and no. There's both sides to the coin. It just depends on your skills and knowledge.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't realize too, just getting into the sport, that when you hear these big names like, Blackhawk, it's basically the name of their frame, because you can put any type of harness, any type of throttle, any type of motor on these frames, and it'll still be called a Blackhawk or an Angel. I mean, just like my Angel, it's the frame that's an Angel. I can put whatever I want to on the motor and any type of harness that I want, any type of throttle that I want, but it's still considered an Angel only because of the frame. It's pretty interesting stuff. I didn't know that. It took me a long time to figure that one out. But anyways, yeah, that's really good as far as what Linda was talking about, going out and making sure that you're flying with friends. That's one thing that I did originally, was fly with friends, because, I thought that was the thing to do. I was still new to the sport. I didn't know about the LZs. I wanted to be there in case something happened to me. But after talking with Kyle O, he said, you need to get out of your comfort zone and go fly by yourself. It took about 6 months for me to do that. So I'm going to ask the panel real quick. We'll start with our guest, of course, Brandon. How often do you fly with friends, and have you flown at all by yourself yet?
Yeah, so I'd always, if I can, try to fly with a friend. But let's say I don't. I'm always texting a family member, letting them know my plan. Like, hey, I'm taking off in 10 minutes. I plan to be up for X amount of time. If I plan to be up longer, I'll let you know. And I'll text you right as I land or whatever, let you know that I landed safely. And in that case, I'll send my tracking to them. So I'm always allowed to be tracked if anything were to happen. Not that anything's happened yet, but I do tend to actually go out on my own. Not often. I'd say probably 1 out of 5 times I'm out alone. So just when I am, I do make sure to take those extra steps to ensure my safety. Not that it's ensuring it, but to help make things a little smoother and confirm a few things.
How long did it take for you to break away from flying with friends and doing your first, solo away from people and just, having a solo flight?
It was probably right around like my 11th flight. Since last year in July, when I learned, I really didn't go out a whole lot. I mean, I probably had just maybe 9 flights before the season ended. Because right around this time, after like July was our prime time to fly this year. But like now it seems to kind of slowly just die off with the way the winds are moving. There's not a whole lot of time to be flying. And I was working full time, so it wasn't always an option. And also driving an hour and 15 minutes every time I want to go fly with someone, it's a little bit of a pain. So flying alone definitely is always, I wouldn't say it's ever as fun as flying with a group of guys. I'd always rather fly with a group of guys, but just more reasonable on my time and everything else. Gas, money, whatever.
Have you not found any fields or anything that are close to you that you go fly out of?
Well, I can take off a matter of like 15 minutes away from my house and my dad's buddy's field. I'm sure I could find other fields too, but he just owns a little bit of land and he doesn't mind me taking off from there. And 15 minutes is nothing to drive to, but no one around me that I know flies. So it's kind of like I'm the only one here.
Have you ever thought about taking off at that field and flying over to the airport to meet up with people to go fly?
An hour and 15 away.
By car.
By car? How far is it? I mean, how is it as far as flying? Because I've flown from, my house to the airport, which is, pretty darn quick and easy. Flying over to Two Rivers and over to where Tommy was. That's the day that he kind of messed up his prop and wasn't able to go fly. But something that would take me normally an hour to drive, it took me 20 minutes to fly.
That's crazy.
You might want to check that out on your Fly Sky High.
I'll have to check that out. But I would think by the time I get there, because right now I'm still not like, if there's just like, I'll try to fly like towards right around the like end, unless I'm flying with like a group of guys, because I'm afraid of thermals. I don't mess around with them, especially when I'm alone. And that's something I look very closely at as to when I decide to fly alone. But I feel like by the time I'd get to where I needed to be, the sun would be going down and then I wouldn't be able to get back home or something.
Understand. Okay. On my Fly Sky High, there is a way of tracking. I think it's Live Track 24. It's a free account. And you can, when you fly, you'll automatically, if you open up your Fly Sky High, it'll automatically send your tracking and where you are flying to the Tracker 24 or what is that? Do you guys know what it is offhand?
Live Tracker 24.
LiveTracker24.com. So
Okay.
you can actually get a free account at Live Tracker 24. Did I say that right, Tommy? Live Tracker 24?
Yeah,
It's on my app. So that's the one that I mainly use anyways, is the Fly Sky High. Let me double check. So as soon as I start flying, it automatically turns on, and then it goes to my live chat tracker, which is LiveTrack24. My username is PPG Grandpa. Surprise! And you can actually go there and log in and see all my flights. Watch it live. Watch it in 3D. You can actually see it in 3D where I am live, which is really good. So that's something that you might want to check out also.
I was just looking for it. It's called Live Track 24.
Yeah, and it's on your Fly
there's a
Sky
place
High.
to sign in. Yeah,
Oh,
you
it's
can sign
on.
in on your Fly Sky High.
Okay.
So it enables you to fly. Enables you to fly right from your phone, and you can keep track of it. And when you are ready to go fly, all you have to do is send that link to your Facebook or to your significant other, your friend or whatever,
Sure.
and let them know it's like, hey, I'm going to go fly, and it's free. So there's no subscription, there's nothing, and it's free for you and free for them, which is awesome. So I just want to let you guys know, in case you didn't know, it's pretty awesome.
I'll
Let's
definitely
run.
be checking that out.
Well, yeah, because it's awesome. I mean, when you can get something for free, take it.
Hell yeah.
Now, I know that. So,
Some
how
Texas,
long?
some Texas fries and some rolls. And I forgot my wallet, Shane. You mind paying for dinner? Oh, I guess it's for free for Sean. No problem.
Oh, it's like that. Oh.
Oh, wait a minute. We're gonna have some technical issues real quick here, and we're gonna lose feed. Hold on a second. I don't know why, but Shane went mute forever. I don't know where he went. Darn it. But anyway, real quick, let's go ahead and go around our group real quick and see how long it took for other people to take their first solo away from, flying with other friends and just flying by themselves. So since Kevin's up here in the top right, let's go ahead and chat with him real quick. Kevin, how long did it take for you to motor by yourself after just flying with friends?
Straight away.
Oh, really?
Straight away.
Okay, well, that was easy.
When I got,
Did
when
you
I
not
got
hear
my
him the
motor,
last
I wasn't
podcast?
really-
That was
I
the
mean,
last podcast. I'm trying to, continue
but
on this podcast.
Like a lot of people, though, when I got my first motor, I wasn't necessarily in touch with the motor community. So, like most people know about me, I came from a paragliding background. So I wasn't afraid of the flying aspect of going out and going flying. I just was more concerned about having a motor out and then having to land out and have all this gear out in some field and having to figure that part out. So whenever I flew alone, I just made sure that I stayed pretty local to my LZ and then scheduled a tentative backup plan. So if I had to have my wife or a friend or someone come and retrieve me, that I kind of had that planned ahead of time. But otherwise, and it didn't take long to find the community around here and get within the community and start enjoying. But there's days where if I wake up in the morning and everyone has to work or nobody's available, I'll still go fly. I don't care. If the weather is beautiful and it's a nice day, I'll fly in the morning. And if it's equally nice in the evening, I'll fly in the evening too. Don't matter to me.
Well, I guess we need to ask the people in the chat too. Hey, people in the chat. How long have you been flying by yourself solo and not flying with friends? Let us know there, because this is going to be the end of the podcast. I cannot believe that we've been talking for an hour already. Wow, that's insane. That never happens. That never happens to us. Hey, Brandon, how do we get to you, and how do we see your YouTube and your channel? How do we get to see this this incident that happened? And what other social media do you have?
So I got Instagram and Facebook. If you guys are on Instagram, I definitely recommend following me on there. I'm always posting little clips and whatnot while I'm in the air live. Every time I go out flying, something's going on Instagram. But I run a YouTube channel called Ruetsche Flies. My last name's Ruetsche. And I kind of run a little system of my last name with something that I'm doing behind it. I run Ruetsche Flies, that's my channel right now. I run Ruetsche Travels, which is my travel channel. I run Ruetsche FPV, which is my new channel that I really haven't put anything out there. I'll plan to be doing a lot of drone videos with that. But if you guys check it out, you guys can see it on screen right now. I'll maybe drop a comment or something in the live stream right now so you guys can check it out. But yeah, if you guys type in like Ruetsche Flies, if you guys can manage to spell my name, get it close, I'm sure it'll pop up. But you guys can see my videos on screen right now, so that's how you guys can find me. It's just _Ruetsche_. If you type in Brandon Ruetsche, it should pop up as the first one. I do have 2 accounts, but you'll see the same profile picture as the one on YouTube. So that's the one I'm always posting on.
If you guys are listening to this audio podcast on paratalk.org, you can always check out the description. We will have all that information down below. If you would like to come over and check out the actual video that we have done today, just go to clearproptv.com and it will be on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it anytime that you want to. But if you're doing a long distance travel and you don't want to see our ugly mugs, definitely check us out. We're under most podcast platforms. Just search for Paramotor Podcast. well, definitely the PPG Paramotor podcast, PPG Grandpa Paramotor podcast. Just find PPG Grandpa. You'll find everything. Hey, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. We totally appreciate you. If you need to go, you're more than welcome to go. Right now, we're going to go ahead and open up this meeting room to everyone. We're going to put the meeting room into the chat and the password so you guys can jump on and just chat with us for the next hour. So, Brandon, thank you so much. We totally appreciate you.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much for having me. Obviously, I came in here figuring I was going to learn a few things, and definitely wasn't wrong there. So I'd like to thank you guys for the tips, and we're just getting started here. So thank you guys for having me.
Can't wait till next year when you're on this podcast after having a couple 100 hours under your belt.
Right, that'll be awesome. Well, it was nice meeting you guys. I'm gonna head out. I got work in the morning, sadly, so we will hop out of here. But it was awesome chatting with you guys.
Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate you.
Have a good
Fly
one.
safe, brother.
You as well.
All right, guys. So if you want to come in, we're gonna put in the Zoom room number. Zoom room. If I can spell room.
Just another another
all them
plus
college
for
words.
There's
Brandon
the room
there.
number and password. All right, this is a very difficult password, so make sure that you type it in correctly. You'll see it on the chat. It is case sensitive, so be very careful, or else you may not make it in. So, welcome to the after party show. Woot woot, party, and Shane is still here.
I'm here for one more beer. That's
Cheers, brother.
That's
Now-
the goal.
Now, Mr. Shane, I told you before we even left, do I need to grab my wallet? Are we going to stay over there and have anything, or we're just going to swing by real quick? And he said, we're just going to swing by.
Yeah, baby.
How do I share my screen?
You just, if you're on Zoom, there's a share screen in the very middle, lower.
I don't think it
bottom.
works so well on a mobile.
No, dude, I got a new laptop, man.
Got a new
Notice the
laptop.
virtual background and all that?
Uh-oh.
On the bottom middle, it says there's a green button that says
Yeah.
share screen.
And then it brings up a window, whiteboard,
You gotta pick
iPhone
which window
pad.
you want to share. Be careful.
Then-
Close your porn. Let me just
Close the porn.
Close it.
unless it's Paramotor.
Okay, I got you. Here we go.
Are we still live?
We're live on YouTube. Yes, we're still
Awesome.
live.
While Shane is telling his story, y'all can watch Kyle in the background.
What is this right here?
What story do I got?
It looks like a heli. Who's doing that heli?
It's going to be more than a heli. This was my first day at aviator training.
That's
They,
you?
they told me I was on the ground filming.
Okay, I thought. Okay, so you're doing the heli and you're doing the Infinity. That's pretty good on your first day at aviator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is one of 6 guys in the world apparently that can do
Is that
it.
Kyle Mooney?
Yeah, that's him, man. That was what I saw my first day down at aviator. I was like,
That's kind of similar to what Shane and I just did at the SIV clinic.
The hell it is.
I guess we can talk a little bit about the SIV clinic since Shane's here, and we'll go
Please
full
do,
SIV.
yeah.
We'll go full SIV clinic next week and talk all about
next week,
SIV
yeah.
stuff.
Well, hey guys, I gotta jump out of here. I gotta pick up the kids and then get ready to make dinner. So I gotta run.
All right, Kevin, we appreciate you being
See you
here.
later, buddy.
Definitely, thank you.
All right,
You guys
Kevin.
have a
good
great
one,
night.
brother.
Blue skies, man. So,
Blue skies.
did you have any issues pulling maneuvers at 4,500 feet?
Nope, not at all. It was very shocking how you disconnect from the boat, the tow line, and
Or was
almost within moments of pulling and tucking away the little bridles. Okay, reach up and just grab your A-lines and pull them down. Oh, we ain't even just gonna we're not gonna go slow into this. We're just gonna go right into it. Okay, good to know.
That
Kiss me
altitude
on the
is
neck
precious.
first.
Yeah, the altitude is precious. Get them up
No.
to 4,000 now. Now let's see how many feet a second we can drop them.
Yeah.
So how'd you feel, Shane, when you pulled your A's and you did that frontal collapse?
Well, I guess my face. I knew you kept saying how exhausting it was, and to get towed up and to do this. I didn't really understand what you meant by that. And apparently I hold my breath the entire time that I'm doing these stunts and my face is beat red. Yeah. So you got to convince yourself to go ahead and pull lines that are keeping you afloat, if you will, and collapse them so that you free fall, which, by the way, you don't feel like you're free falling at all. You don't feel like you're falling out of the sky. At least I did not. But it doesn't stop you from realizing that you are falling.
You don't feel the fall, but once it opens up, the canopy opens up back up, then you can actually feel it. You can feel that big surge, because now you're falling, then it opens up, and now all of a sudden you're going. Oh, look at all these forward launch bruises I have. Looks like my wife beat me. Well, she does, but that's mostly forward launch stuff. But yeah, you can really feel the surge. You feel the G-forces. It's pretty crazy. Hey, John Wayne, what's up, man?
My biggest issue with the whole SIV is not getting into trouble. It's not collapsing your wing. Mm-hmm. And this actually goes for life. It's easy to get in trouble. It's paying for it. It's paying for it, and getting out of trouble is the hard part. Because as soon as your wing opens back up, you have all this extra energy that you have to deal with. And it literally takes hands up, brakes. You have to look at your wing. You have to control the wing. And it happens so fast. Meanwhile, the pressure, the G's are hitting you, and you got to forget all that. And you just got to look at your wing and read the wing. And I guess, honestly, that's what the SIV is all about, is knowing what your wing is doing and fixing it. And the first couple deflations that I did, I hit brake the entire time because I just wanted crap to stop. You know what I mean? Like, the wing is falling backwards, which you're supposed to hands up. I'm like, no, I'm just going to brake that and hit the brakes and stop everything, because as soon as you hit brakes, everything stops. It doesn't work that way. You literally have to continue to pilot your wing. And at the end of the day, I literally, no problems, hands up, ready to rock and roll. It was awesome.
What are we looking at now?
Us in the past.
Why are we looking at us in the past?
It's freaking trippy.
Okay.
It'll go
No. What's trippy is if you showed us in the future.
Yes. Touche.
But yeah, so how many different maneuvers did you do, Shane? We went up 5 times each.
Oh.
We were able to get towed 5 times. And what kind of maneuvers were you able to do up there? I know that you said that you did big ears. What else did you do?
Okay, so outside of big ears wasn't even the first thing I did. It was go up there and pull a 50% deflation on the left for 1 second. You just pull it down and let it back up. Deal with the surge, move on. Now, then he tells you to grab the A-lines and lean out away from the deflation while you hold the A-lines down. So I pulled left A-lines controlled with right, which I didn't do very well at first. Ended up in a very intense spin. Let out, controlled that, moved on. Then came back into it, did it again. I did right and left deflations. I did right and left deflations, leaning away from the deflation and leaning into it with a turn. I did frontals. I did frontals with a speed bar. That's where I got in trouble. I did.
You actually did speed bar stuff. That was pretty good. Hey, JP, can you find some SIV stuff to show? So you used your speed bar. Why did
Watching me in the past is weird.
I've never used a speed bar ever. Didn't even know how to use it, which I should have asked.
Right.
Before takeoff, I should have just said, well, how does this even work? I just figured it can't be that hard. So I reached down when he's like, all right, pull that speed bar out. I'm like, okay, I've seen this on Tucker's videos and a couple other people was using speed bars. So That's literally as I'm 4,000 feet in the air going, yeah, that's how this works. Okay. Apparently speed bar just makes everything more spicy and it's more aggressive on the recovery, if you will. I also did the horseshoe, which I thought was very non-dramatic, if you will.
And how do you do a horseshoe so people that never done an SIV course understands what you're doing?
So you reach up and you grab your two left and right the inner A lines. You put them together in one hand, and then you take your other hand and you start going up towards the wing, pulling down. And the center of the wing kind of collapses inward. The outside of the wing it makes a horseshoe. And it literally was the most docile maneuver I made the entire day. And Sean, your experience of the horseshoe was completely different.
Definitely completely different. I had my trims out. I didn't have my trims in. I was doing different maneuvers and left the trims out. So when I put the two center A's together, almost immediately the whole front collapsed. I mean just brutally. And I dropped at 32, 33 feet a second. That's what my Fly Sky High said. And that was the only time I've ever done any maneuver that I almost felt like I lost a lunch. I've never fallen that fast while paramotoring. So I tried it again. The same thing happened. It just totally collapsed. But once again, I think it's because my trims were all the way out. If I had my trims in, I bet I could have done it no problem. This is a totally different wing that I brought to the SIV course because the last one I had the Roadster 3. This one is a Gin Vantage 3. So it only has A's, B's, and C's. It's a hybrid mountain / motor wing. So it's even though it's a 28 meter, same as my Roadster, it is spicy. It's the only one that they had that I could get right away was an orange one, so I call it my pumpkin spice, and it's a spicy ass wing.
Now with your I thought your full stall was way more dramatic, if you will, than your horseshoe.
I didn't feel it.
Like I watched it. I mean, on TV on the monitor, I was just like, oh my God, he's like doing these three. So you're coming down and you're spinning and it's
Oh, I had
chaotic.
a riser twist too.
Yeah. I was just like, are you kidding me? I'm not doing that. And then I see you do the horseshoe and you're like, I'm never doing that again. I'm like, okay. And then I get up there at 4,000 feet. He's like, do the horseshoe. I'm like, what is this all about? This is nothing. Like I've felt more bumps and drops on a calm, no wind day than I have on this horseshoe. It's just weird how, I guess, with your trims out is I assume it's the same thing as speed bar. That, like I did frontals without the speed bar and frontals with the speed bar. Frontals with speed bar is an eye opener way more than it is without it.
Well, because with your trims out, more of your weight is on the front
Frontal.
end of your wing. So if you collapse that front end and most of your weight's on that front end, it's gonna collapse pretty darn drastically. But then when it opens up really quick, and you can really feel the G forces. You know what I think? You know what I think happened too? If you say that my frontals that I dropped pretty fast, that horseshoe was like, what, wasn't that my fifth one, my last one that I did that day?
Mm-hmm.
Or my fourth or fifth? I was
Fourth or fifth, yeah.
I was already dehydrated. I was exhausted. The wind was really picking up, so doing a reverse, I was having a lot of frontals, and I didn't realize that the instructor pulled the trims out, so it had more whoosh than I'm used to. And anyway, so
maybe I should have pulled my trimmers out so I didn't ended up on my back and getting drugged down towards the water.
We had a very interesting time. I can't wait.
Sean, what did Sean, what did they tell you to do on that frontal?
On the frontal, let's see. I think I did.
Yeah, to get out of it, I mean.
Hands up.
Hands up.
Yeah.
Yeah, hands up.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I just watched a seminar from a couple of pilots that test wings. And what they said is that when you go to an SIV and you do the frontals and all that, it's hands up. But here's the interesting part. They said that when you're flying fast, which someone would be on speed bar, that the frontal is a completely different creature, and that you don't go hands up, that you need to pump brake to get out of that.
Yes, the first one that I did was a.
Okay, I'm just curious if that was right or not.
Well, the first one I did was a brake stall. So I wrapped brake and I pulled down until it stalled. So I was going really slow in that one, frontaled. And
I think that would totally matter, what rated wing you were flying, wouldn't it?
This is
that's a huge
I'm
deal.
sure that's true.
And this is a B wing. Actually, it's more intermittent. It's a high B. It's really carvy. It's much different than my Roadster, which is also a B. And what I was doing was I was pulling brake. I wanted to see how long it took to stall. It took everything I had, and 3 line wraps around my hand, and I had to push down to where my arms were shaking to make this thing stall. So I'm not afraid of pulling too much brake and it stalling, because there's just no way. You just have to put too much energy into it to make it stall. The other one I did was I was flying normal, and I think the trims were in, so I think I was flying about 25 miles an hour. When I grabbed all the A's and I pulled, that's when I did my frontal collapse, and I let go of them, and immediately it opened up. So I didn't have any problems with that either. I didn't do any beeline stalls because I already know from my Roadster it takes so much effort to pull the beelines and to make it stall. I did an asymmetric where I pulled all the A's on the right-hand side and yanked them down, and so I had a 50% collapse, and the darn wing flies like a champion. I mean, it barely moved.
Actually, I have a video. Now, this is no exaggeration. I have a video of it. I'm literally in a 50% deflation, turning, weight shifting, and with the inside hand that I'm steering with, I look up and go, oh, my camera's not angled right. And I adjust it while the wing is deflated. This is like the second or third maneuver that I'm doing. I'm already while I'm in deflation, adjusting cameras with one hand. I'm like, I noticed it. I didn't realize I did it at the time, but I was watching. I was like, yeah, you're an idiot. Like, why are you messing with the camera? Because you want to make sure you get your face. I mean, it was ridiculous. But
also too, you felt safe, even though that this is the first time that you pulled the 50% collapse. It was not a scary thing. I mean, half your wing was not flying, and you were still able to fly straight by just doing a slight weight shift.
So, I will say the coming up to actually pulling your lines is as nerve-wracking as it can be. Like, you're not supposed to reach up and grab anything and pull anything. Like, you're not supposed to. So your nerves are kind of shot, at least for me. I actually have 3. I have 2 A-lines on one riser section and then a single A-line. And when I first reached up, I only grabbed the first 2. And I pulled. And nothing really happened. I mean, I had a little bit of whatever. And then the teacher was like, hey, you need to grab all 3. I was like, I did. Oh, there is 3. Okay, great. It was just me being nervous. And I pulled that third one. And I felt nothing. I felt no drop, no chaoticness. It was when I didn't use enough opposite brake that I ended up in a spiral. And you go from being calm, cool, and collective to in a G-force spiral in a hurry. It was shocking to me how quickly, if you don't use the opposite brake, how quickly you will end up in a full-on G-force spin. But you just let go of that line. You wait for the surge. You hands up until the surge, and then you're good. To go back to the question that was asked earlier about speed bar and frontals, I think the speed bar it collapses quicker, more violently, but not like night and day. It's barely noticeably different. But the recovery, if you don't let your foot off that speed bar and you try to recover, it's harsh. Because I did it the very first time. I did not take off the speed bar. Because as Sean knows, first thing I do when my wing doesn't do what I want it to do, my feet go out. When you're supposed to have them tucked in, that's all I heard all day long.
Tuck in your feet. Tuck in your feet.
Tuck in your feet. Nope. As soon as my wing went out, I was like, feet out, feet out, feet out. I still do it when I fly. I mean, that's just what I do. It's just a nervous reaction. But the speed bar frontals, as soon as he said hands up and I let go, the wing opened up. So I was pleased, very, very pleased with my wing and how it reacted to what I would consider chaos. Because when you're pulling on wing or on strings and the wing does not do what it's designed to do and it recovers quickly, I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sounds like you've gained a lot of confidence from this SIV.
Yeah, I don't want to say a lot. I have one more day. Between Sean and I, it was a very small class. We got 5 toes. You would not, and Sean said this to me earlier, and Sean, I'm going to tell you right now, you are 100% correct.
Hold on. Let me put this on record, and I'm going to play this back live. What did you say again?
There needs to be a soundbite for. There needs to be a soundbite. Make that a soundbite.
This is a soundbite. Sean, you are 100% correct. Beep. Sean, you're 100% correct. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shane. Go ahead and say that again.
You would not think that just bringing your wing up and having a boat pull you in the air is hard. There's some of the video that I have where we're kiting I've kited to one wing for 50 seconds before I took off in the air. And you're fighting the wing. You're wearing, first of all, it's 94 degrees, actual 94 degrees plus a heat index. It feels like 100 and something. You're wearing a life jacket in this heat. So it is, you got a harness on you that's not letting the air in the back of you, and you're just sweating. I actually said to you after the second tow, I was like, why are you sweating so much? I hadn't even taken off yet. I'm already talking smack. I didn't even get off the ground. I didn't get off the ground yet. I'm just covered in sweat. As soon as I put the life jacket on, it just holds in all the heat. I was like, oh my God. So then you're kiting, and then you take off. You got adrenaline. You got just nerves. You got the heat. It's crazy. I didn't realize just how dramatic. I thought, actually, I should say I thought Sean was being dramatic. And I was like, okay, I'm not that out of shape. I mean, after the third one, I was just like, holy crap, I'm done for the day. Like, it was exhausted. I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, when you get up there in the air, you get up to 4,000 feet, it feels great. It feels great. But then you come down in a hurry into the heat, and then you land and do it again. And you don't really get I don't want to say we didn't get a break, but you don't get a long enough break in between tows with 2 people. I think if the class was of 4 people, we would have been perfect, because 3 tows would have went, then your turn. 3 tows would have went, then your turn.
To save time, we did 2 tows in a row, which is exhausting.
Yes. And the other thing is at the end of, I'd say the end of tow 3 going into 4 and 5, the winds were brutal. They were high. I've never even thought about pulling out my wing and kiting. And here I am hooked to a boat, and they're like, okay, pull the wing up. And honestly, I mean, dude, I got tossed and almost put into the water, drug into the water with my wing. I actually got I actually had the wing up in the air and it got a little sideways on me. And next thing I know, I was on all fours, and now my wrist right now is twice the size of the other one. And it was. I hit the ground twice, and I said on the third time, I said, if I hit the ground third time, I'm done for the day. I am done. Like, because I was told never to kite in this kind of wind. It was, Sean, what would you say the winds were?
9, 10 miles an hour.
No, it's way worse than that.
No,
Yeah, that's perfect for kiting.
yeah,
No.
yeah, it was
Not-
it was,
nine
it
to
was not
10.
that bad. Yeah, it was about 9, 10. My watch said it was 7 to 8, but it felt a little bit more, maybe about 9, 10.
I have taken off plenty of times at 7, 8 mile an hour on the beach. This was not 7, 8. This was in the teens. Okay. Well, we
I'm
can.
still proud of you, Shane. I'm still proud.
But hey, guys, I'm in a tornado watch right now, and it's raining cats and dogs outside. I'm in the outer bands of a hurricane.
Oh, no.
but
Okay.
You're
Nick,
welcome.
yeah, Nick from the chat was talking about having his metal and screws removed from his leg after 3 years. And I wanted to share a picture. If I can figure out how to share again here. That's my leg. All right, so September 17th, that long screw at the bottom, 3-inch one that goes between the fibula and tibula is coming out. And after that, I can run. The other plate and 5 screws are probably going to stay in until, I don't know, at least a year in.
You can tell all the girls that, right?
Anyway, he said he just had a bunch of plates and screws removed, and anyway, there it is, man.
Talk to me. Yeah.
Wow.
No, you be safe, Brian.
Oh, I'll be flying in less than a month.
No, I'm talking about the tornado watch.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully.
Shoot.
It's okay. It'll just blow you over to the end of the split drag.
Yeah.
I get my wing out and ride it out, man. Just ride it out.
Sounds like a song.
Yeah, Tommy and I are not afraid of gust fronts anymore after flying through our gust front.
It was a fun trip.
It was.
It was an
It was
interesting
great.
trip.
But
So also, I was going to say with the whole, he is asking the question about the speed bar and stuff. I've watched guys that are on Xenos for SIVs, just wondering what that type of wing would do. It's completely different what they're doing from what they're saying they're doing. I mean, hands up is what I'm always told on my glider. If you go hands up on one of those, high D's competition wings, it is a lot different from what I can see. It looks like they're moving a lot.
Yeah, you end up in a frontal. That wing will shoot forward, and you're looking down at the water, going, "Oh, we're free falling," and my wing just passed me. Yeah, those like I'm on an A wing, which isn't apparently to the SIV school that I just went to. They're not big fans of the Link 2, because they say that, like, the company that makes my wing says it's an A wing, but it's really a spicy B wing. I don't understand. I'm new to this. Like, I just went to school in November, so they think that the wing is a little bit more risky, and actually tried to talk me out of not flying it and flying one of their wings. And the whole reason of doing the class was to learn how to control my wing and what the abilities of my wing is. So I used my wing. I really didn't have any issues. It recovered and did what it's supposed to. I mean, I'm still here. If it didn't, there was one there was one situation where I was told to throw a reserve and I didn't. I was in the middle of trying to work the wing out. It completely folded up under itself in a full frontal, and I got the wing open back up and flew off and landed. That, truthfully, was less dramatic than that speed bar. Actually, no, I take it back. What did I do? Which one was it that I ended up in a spin crazy thing Oh my God, I didn't
I don't know.
know.
Was that your frontal?
Yeah, I think it was the frontal with the. So where I got in trouble with the reserve thing was the speed bar with the frontal, but I didn't really feel that was as bad as just a full frontal without the speed bar. I don't know if
it's amazing how these wings, they just want to fly no matter how
yeah.
you do something stupid to them or there's collapse. I mean, can you imagine flying and taking a 50% collapse? You'd look up and go 50% collapse? Oh, I'll just pump that one out, no big deal. Now it's like no big deal. But before
Correct.
you do this, you think of a 50% collapse and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to go down and die. Now it's like 50% collapse. Oh, just pump it out. There we go. We're good. And you don't even
just
think
change your
about it.
glide ratio just a little bit. That's all.
It does just a little bit, and you know that it's going to spin just a little bit towards the collapse. So if I grab up and I grab all of my A's on the right and I pull it all the way down, 50% of my wing is gone, and now it's going to turn slightly this way, and all I have to do is weight shift towards the inflated side, and it goes straight. There's just nothing. I mean, after doing these SIV courses, I'm not afraid of flying in some bumpy wind. I'm not afraid of collapses. Matter of fact, I still have not flown in a wind with rotor or bump that collapsed even a little bit of the tip. So
I've never as much as had a little flicker of my tips, and here I am doing full frontals at the SIV.
And I get that probably every third flight. I lose about 30% of one side because of where I'm flying, where I'm having to take off.
Just lean to the other side. You'll be fine.
Well, that's all I can. I'm usually
it's
turning. I'm in a 180-degree turn when it happens, and it's got to where I don't even pay any attention to it anymore.
So I actually have to go back. I have paid for another day because I was supposed to do 2 days, but I physically and mentally was just beat after the first day. So I'm actually I've talked to the teacher today, and we're gonna set something up where he's gonna have 2 other guys, and then I'm gonna show up to be the third guy and go do my second day, where I plan to. I'm just like Sean at this point. Now I know, just go up there and just start pulling lines. Some of the videos I have, like, he tells you to pull your A's, and I stop. Let me get up. So I stop about here on my first one. On my last one, you can't even see my hand. I pull the A's so far down that you can't even see them in the frame. Because I'm just like, okay, I know as soon as I let go, it's going to pop back open. And it does every time.
what was that maneuver I did where I got into that riser twist? Do you remember?
I think it was a stall.
Was it?
Yeah, because it was like almost the very first thing that you did.
So it must have been the brake stall then.
Yeah, because it was, because it was on. He asked you to get 1, if not 2 wraps. I think you got 2 wraps on it.
I got
and
3
then
wraps on it.
On whatever it was, and then you got the riser twist, and I was thinking to myself, hey, yeah, that's not for me. I'm not falling out of the sky like that. It wasn't face down in a spiral. This was coming down in a seated position. It was controlled looking, but it was not for me. But
that was my first riser twist ever.
Yeah, I think now I would be okay with doing it. Like, as a person who has never taken off and never had as much as a wingtip deflation, to see that, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen to me. That's a no. But now the confidence of knowing what my wing is going to do, I'd totally go up there and do that. Full stall, no problem. It is going to be chaotic when you come out of it. It will totally be chaotic. But you just look up at your wing. If it shoots forward, you know to brake. If it shoots back, you know to hands up. That's all it is. That's as simple as I can explain it. If your wing shoots forward, brake the shit out of it. I'm sorry. And then when it comes back, just hands up. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Brian, is that your first flight?
Yeah, man. You were talking about first flights earlier. It took me 2 weeks after my training at Aviator. This was Christmas Day 2019, my first flight at home.
I noticed there's no hay bales. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's wide open, man. Runway in the front yard. Step back, take some deep breaths.
So
Go ahead. I'm just playing some in the background.
Shane, whenever did you get comfortable with how far forward you like doing the dolphin porpoises or whatever?
So that's my thing.
You're-
Yeah, that's my thing. Now I think I'm pushed them to even more aggressive face down, if you will. Allow the wing to go more under me. Not. I don't know how to explain this. It takes so much for that wing to collapse, and when it does, it just takes the smallest amount of little, and it opens back up.
Dude,
So-
you went right towards those trees and
Yeah,
that power
I was a lot.
line.
I was a lot further away from those than it looks like.
But
Yeah,
Very
you gotta
yeah,
tighten that wing.
I absolutely love doing the porpoise thing. I love that free fall little feeling, the little like roller coaster thing. So
next time when you're up there, Shane, try the whip stalls. Instead, have your motor on idle and pull until it slows down, let go, and then you hit that big surge, and then when you come back up, pull the brakes, and then you do another whip. I mean, at one point you're going to be looking straight down, pretty much like what you're doing with your motor.
yeah, because I do that now. I literally will even kick my feet up to kind of give that little swing, and then I just fully take off the throttle from full throttle to no throttle, and I don't check the wing. I just let it fly forward and then come down and boom. Go. Your face is all wet. What is wrong with you? Anyways, I'm out of here, guys. I got a dog apparently once out. He just got a mouthful of water and then walked over here dripping like, hey, let me put my head in your lap. Get out of here, dude. We ain't got time for that.
My dogs are bugging me right now too. Like, what the heck?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I heard that. Listen, I didn't want to be on here this long, but I did, and I'm glad I did because it's been helpful. But I will see you guys next Monday. Thank you for everything. And, yeah, I'll see you guys next Monday.
Love you, Shane.
Absolutely.
Have a
See you
good
later,
night, buddy.
Shane. Have an awesome day.
Peace out, Shane.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for jumping on,
Night.
man.
Yep, no worries. Night.
All right. So, guys, my fine feathered friends, as long as you want to be on here, you're more than welcome to. I think I need to go nighty-night myself.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I'm fixing to
I'm
go
out
too.
myself.
I'm about to share my bear story before y'all peace out on me.
Okay, all right. Let's see the
Hey, go
bear.
ahead, share away. I'm gonna get going.
I'm bow hunting on the ground in Colorado for elk. This guy's walking up on me.
When was this?
That's about a year ago.
Oh,
Or 2 years ago.
brave.
Let me back up just a
I was
little
gonna
bit
be
more.
like, you're brave.
There we go.
Well, he's got a bow in his hand, so at least he's able to protect
Oh,
himself.
I had a pistol in my hand too at that point. Yeah, I had 2 bear experiences that day. Pretty cool day, man, no doubt.
Yeah.
I could tell you a
Good thing you
lot
weren't
of bear
hungry.
stories.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I can't bear to see this one.
Oh, they used to be an absolute nuisance at my house in northern Wisconsin.
Bet.
Yeah, I bet. We don't have any bears in Alabama, thank goodness, for the most part.
Well, I'm in Alabama now, and I ain't seen none except Bear Bryant and his pictures everywhere.
What part of Alabama you in?
I'm in just outside of Huntsville.
Okay, my brother lives up that way. I'm down there near Dothan.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and stop the live stream real quick, but you guys can stay on the after party. Don't go nowhere. Let's go ahead and kill the live stream. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for listening to PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, aka ClearPropTV.com. Also, if you want to listen to us, make sure that you.
Linda wants to say something.
I have to
What's
say
that?
something real quick. Can we all just send prayers up for James Oric? He's a paraglider in Arizona, and he crashed in the Nevada desert somewhere.
Did they find him yet?
They're doing a search. They're still.
They haven't
looking
found him
for
yet.
and they haven't found him yet. So,
Mm.
but prayers up because you know, they're all my family, and hopefully, you know, he's going to be okay. He went missing on Saturday. So,
Oh man.
I think I tagged you guys, so you can.
Yeah, we've seen those.
You can follow it. Yeah.
I think he probably just landed out so far and he doesn't have signal. You know, praying that he's definitely okay.
I mean, I hope that's the case. You know what I mean? Because yeah. Let's see. I'm on here real quick. Yeah, Bradley. Bradley. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Gunnuscio. He's friends with Robert, but he's the one that posted on Facebook. So yeah, so I think I tagged you guys or whatever, but I've been watching Facebook and I haven't seen any updates yet. But just, you know, prayers up. Hopefully it'll be okay. So.
For sure.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It's definitely sending prayers to him, sending prayers to everyone out there that flies. Definitely be safe, everyone out there. And once again, thank you very much for listening to our podcast, and have a great day. We'll be back next week at the same time, about 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on Clear Prop TV. Have a great evening.
Peace out, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
See y'all later.
Okay, guys.
Peace. All right. Well, that was very nice. I was definitely going to let you guys talk or something. I always say, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? You know, so I wasn't going to kill it without letting you guys talk.
I think Linda was having a hard time getting through a couple of times. I'm not sure her audio was as loud as ours.
Hers is not. Hers is really soft. She's always worried that she's loud, but she's not.
Yeah.
Only when the dogs bark.
Only when the dogs bark.
Yeah, only when Amazon showed up right in the middle of the show. Yes.